Welcome, traveler. You've wandered far enough through the noise of the waking world. Now it's time to rest. What you are about to hear is not just a story, but a path, one that drifts between dream and memory, between the hush of snow and the whisper of forgotten winds. This is Echoes of Ether, a place where the worlds of games and dreams blend into one gentle breath, where time slows and sound becomes warmth. Each chapter in this journey carries you deeper into the unknown. 5 minutes of soft narration, where story and silence weave together like snowfall, followed by 2 minutes of pure music, crafted to let your mind drift freely and your thoughts fade softly into stillness. The rhythm of this story is slow by design. Every pause, every echo, every word meant not to awaken your mind, but to lull it, to let it float gently, as if carried by the cold winds over distant mountains. You don't need to follow the story. You don't need to remember the names. All you need is to listen, breathe slowly, feel the weight of the day melt away. Let the sound guide you where sight cannot go. Beyond the campfire, beyond the snow, into the quiet corners of a world you've always known, yet never seen like this. So close your eyes, rest your thoughts, and let us begin our journey into the calm, the silence, and the endless dreaming sky of Skyrim. Tonight, the world feels ancient, older than memory, older than names. The mountains sleep beneath 1,000 silent snows, their peaks lost in silver clouds, their roots hidden deep beneath stone and frost. The stars above shimmer faintly, like the breath of forgotten gods, whispering to one another across the endless dark. You sit beside a small fire, its light a trembling heart in the cold vastness of the night. Each spark that rises feels like a story escaping into the air and fading before anyone could hear it. The flame does not speak, but it remembers. It remembers every traveler who has rested here before you, hands stretched out, faces lined with quiet hope, eyes half closed beneath the weight of their own thoughts. You can almost see them, shadows from another time, warming themselves in the same glow, listening to the same wind, waiting for dawn that never quite comes. The air smells of ash and pine and something older still, the scent of rain that fell centuries ago and lingered in the stones. You breathe it in slowly, letting it fill your chest, letting the cold slip through your fingers until you no longer know where your breath ends and the mountains begins. The forest murmurs softly around you, branches swaying like slow-moving ghosts, their voices weaving through one another in a language you almost understand. Somewhere beyond the trees, water drips, once, twice, a rhythm steady enough to feel like time itself. And the owl, the same one you've heard each night since the snows began, calls once, low and distant, a sound that folds itself into the dark and disappears. You watch the flame bend in the wind, its colors shifting, amber, gold, pale blue, like a memory changing shape to stay alive. You stare so long that the fire begins to blur until it no longer looks like fire at all, but a small window into somewhere else. You see a road there, faint, a ribbon of silver cutting through a forest of black trees. Snow drifts over it like falling dust. And in the distance, a figure walks alone. Their footsteps make no sound, their breath clouds in the air, and every few steps, they stop, as if listening for something that only they can hear. You blink, and the road fades back into flame. Only the crackle remains, soft, patient, eternal. You draw your cloak tighter around your shoulders, feeling the rough fabric scrape gently against your neck. It smells faintly of smoke and travel, and nights just like this one. The warmth spreads slowly through your chest, down to your hands, and into the frozen earth beneath your feet. Each heartbeat feels slower than the last, as if time itself has grown tired. Above you, the stars drift behind a curtain of thin clouds, and for a moment, you feel as if you're floating among them, weightless, endless. The night hums quietly, a sound too low to truly hear, but you can feel it in your bones, steady, comforting, like a pulse beneath the world. The fire leans toward you once more, and for a brief instant, it feels like it's breathing with you. You close your eyes, and the darkness behind your eyelids swirls with color, deep blues, fading violets, silver light that moves like water. Somewhere within that darkness, you hear the faint echo of a voice. Maybe it's the wind. Maybe it's memory. Maybe it's something older than both. It whispers your name, not loudly, but softly enough that you almost doubt it happened. You open your eyes again, and the fire is smaller now, its glow dimming to embers. Each spark that rises feels slower, heavier, like a thought too tired to finish. You lean back against the stone and exhale. The world exhales with you. The trees sigh, the snow settles, and everything, for a moment, is still. The stars turn above, ancient, patient, unmoving, and you sit in their quiet company, half awake, half dreaming, listening to the whisper of the flame and the promise it keeps repeating. That morning will come, but not yet. Not yet. Chapter 2. The Whispering Pines. The fire has gone quiet now. Only embers remain, breathing softly in the dark. You rise slowly, pulling the cloak around you, and step away from the fading warmth. The night greets you, cold, endless, but strangely familiar. Each breath becomes a cloud, and each step a sound swallowed by snow. Before you, the forest waits. 1,000 pines stand like silent watchers, their tall shapes etched in silver moonlight. You take your first step toward them, and the world seems to hold its breath. The air grows denser here, thicker with scent of resin and bark, and something faintly sweet, like old rain caught in the needles. The trees are alive with whispers, not loud, not clear, but constant. They speak in the slow rhythm of leaves brushing against one another, a language so ancient that even the wind forgets its meaning. You walk deeper. The sound of your boots fades into the hush. The ground softens, no longer stone and snow, but a carpet of fallen needles, springy, cool, silent. Every few steps, you hear something stir. A low rustle, a sigh that might be the forest breathing. You stop. Listen. Only silence replies. Then, a voice. Not human, not animal, something softer, older. It drifts through the pines like a thread of mist. And though you can't make out the words, you feel their weight, like they were meant for you alone. Keep walking, the forest seems to say. Not far now. You obey, you walk. The moon follows above, a silver guardian between the branches. You notice the way the light spills across the bark, painting each tree with veins of blue and white. Somewhere in that shifting glow, you think you see faces. Not clear, but suggestions. Eyes that close when you look too long, mouths that almost smile, The pines murmur again, their voices overlapping like waves. You close your eyes, listen deeper. It sounds like stories, thousands of them, each tree keeping its own secret. Each whisper, a memory trapped in wood. You reach out, your fingers brushing against the rough trunk of one. It's warm, alive, beating with a faint rhythm, like a pulse under bark. And suddenly, you see a memory not yours, a flash. The same forest, but long before the snow. Green, endless, light pouring through every leaf, children running between the roots, laughter, fireflies, and then darkness, a storm, silence again. You pull your hand back, the vision fades, the pine says nothing now, only sways gently as if exhaling. You continue walking, your breath steady, your thoughts slower than before. The deeper you go, the quieter it becomes. Even the wind dares not speak here. You pass between two trees, their branches twisted together overhead like the frame of an ancient gate. Beyond it, mist, thick and silver, rolling low over the ground like a living thing. You step into it. The air turns cool and damp. Each inhale tastes faintly of rain and iron. The world feels smaller now, as if the mist has swallowed the sky. You can only see a few feet ahead. Everything else is lost to white. And yet, you hear them again. The whispers, closer, clearer. Some speak in tones you recognize, gentle, curious. Others are deep and hollow, like wind through a hollow trunk. You can't tell if they're around you or inside you. The pines are everywhere now, their shapes fading in and out of the mist, like ghosts remembering what it was like to be trees. You slow your pace, your heartbeat matches the rhythm of the forest, and for the first time, you realize you're not afraid. Something ancient walks beside you, not seen, not heard, but felt. Its presence hums low in your bones, protective, gentle, like the forest itself has decided you belong here. You whisper back, though you don't know what words you use. The sound leaves your lips, and the trees answer with a faint sigh. Then, ahead of you, a faint light appears. Not fire, not moon, something softer, like the glow of dawn caught between branches. You follow it. The mist parts slowly, revealing a small clearing ringed with towering pines. At the center, a pool of still water, dark as obsidian, reflecting nothing but the faint shimmer of stars. You kneel beside it, touch the surface. It's cold, so cold that it feels alive. And in that reflection, you see not your face, but the fire you left behind, still burning, still waiting. You smile faintly. The trees seem to sigh in relief. The whispers fade, one by one, until the only sound left is the ripple of water beneath your fingertips. You sit there, in silence, breathing, listening, existing. The forest watches, and for the first time in a long while, you feel seen. The pines stand tall above you, their branches trembling softly in the breeze, as if blessing your rest. You close your eyes, and the world grows weightless again. The whispers become distant, soft as falling snow, until they fade completely. Only peace remains. Chapter 3, The River of Forgotten Names. When you open your eyes, the mist is gone. Only sound remains, the low murmur of water moving through stone. Steady, patient, endless. You're lying beside a river. The air smells clean here, cold and sweet, like rain caught in the folds of time. You sit up slowly, feeling the grass bend beneath your fingers, each blade damp with dew. The sky is gray, soft and unbroken, a ceiling of cloud that hides the stars, and beneath it, the river glows faintly, as if lit from within. Silver currents twist and ripple, their light sliding across the rocks like living silk. You watch for a while. Time drips slower here. Every second feels stretched, as if the world wants you to rest inside it. You dip your hand into the water and feel a pulse, not your own. The river is alive. It hums quietly beneath your skin, a vibration deep and calm, like a lullaby sung through stone. The current is slow but strong, and as it moves, you start to hear something inside it. Not just the sound of flowing water, but voices, soft, scattered, overlapping, too many to count. They speak in fragments, like echoes of lives once lived. Some laugh, some whisper, some simply breathe your name. You listen, and though you can't understand the words, you know what they are. They are names, old ones, forgotten ones, spoken by the water so they won't disappear. You kneel closer, letting the sound fill you. Each voice feels warm, familiar, like a memory you once had, but let slip away. And for a moment, you remember things you never lived. A mother's song by a window, the weight of rain on your shoulders, a candle blown out in a quiet room. The river keeps whispering. Each name that passes seems to sink deeper into the current, carried away forever. You whisper your own name, softly, to see if it will join them. For a heartbeat, nothing happens. Then the river stirs. The current shifts, gentle, deliberate. It circles your reflection once, twice, and then pulls your name away. You watch as it fades downstream until it's gone. The silence that follows feels different now, lighter, as if some invisible weight has been lifted from your chest. You lie back against the grass again and close your eyes. The sound of the river folds around you like a blanket woven from time itself. Every breath you take moves in rhythm with the current. In, out, in, out. The world becomes smaller, the sounds blur, and slowly, you begin to drift. You dream of faces you've never seen, hands reaching through the current, voices laughing somewhere far away. And through it all, the river hums your name again, not to claim it, but to keep it safe. Above, the clouds begin to part. Pale moonlight touches the surface of the water, and for a fleeting moment, you see hundreds of names glowing just beneath it. They shimmer like stars trapped under glass, each one alive, each one remembered. You whisper to them, a thank you, and the river answers with a quiet sigh that sounds almost like peace. The wind picks up, the pines rustle behind you, and from somewhere downstream, a faint melody rises. It isn't music, it isn't speech. It's something between both. The sound of the world reminding itself to keep breathing. You let it carry you. The ground feels softer now, the air warmer. Sleep presses gently against your eyes. The last thing you see is the silver current gliding away, endless and kind. And in that final moment before sleep, you understand. Nothing is ever truly forgotten. It just flows forever into the quiet. Chapter 4. The frozen shrine beneath the moon. The wind had quieted. Only the soft crunch of snow answered the traveler's steps. Each breath rose like silver smoke, drifting toward a sky carved in ice and silence. The night had grown older and colder. The kind of cold that seeps beneath armor, beneath skin, until it feels like your soul itself has slowed to match the stillness of the mountains. He had walked beyond the tree line, where the pines bent low under the weight of frost, and before him stood a ridge of glimmering stone, a ruin half buried, half forgotten. The moon hung above it, round and pale, as if watching, as if remembering. There was a doorway carved in the ice, an arch of ancient runes that glowed faintly beneath the snow's reflection. He brushed the frost away, his fingers tracing symbols he did not know, yet felt somehow familiar. Echoes of old prayers whispered by those who came before. Inside, the air was still, no sound, but the slow drip of melting ice somewhere deep within. The walls shimmered faintly with frozen dust, reflecting the moonlight in ripples of soft blue. He lit a small flame. Its glow flickered against the carvings, scenes of warriors kneeling before a god with no name, offerings of swords and shields, now lost to centuries of cold sleep. There was an altar, simple but strong, a block of black stone, cracked through the middle as if struck by something ancient and powerful. On its surface lay fragments of a broken amulet, a piece shaped like a dragon's claw, frozen solid, yet pulsing faintly beneath the ice. He knelt, not in worship, but in reverence, because even in this forgotten place, he could feel the memory of something sacred, something older than time itself. A whisper drifted through the chamber, soft as a sigh. "Do you remember us?" The traveler did not answer, only closed his eyes and listened. He could hear faint voices layered within the silence, monks chanting in a tongue older than men, the hum of distant winds weaving through stone corridors, and the heartbeat of the mountain itself. Then a vision, fleeting, fragile. The shrine alive once more, lit by torchlight, surrounded by snow-draped figures chanting beneath the open sky. A priest stepped forward, her hands raised toward the moon, and the sky answered with a sound that shook the soul, half thunder, half roar. The traveler gasped, and it was gone. Only silence again, only the sound of his own heartbeat, slow and calm. He felt the weight of the world settle, then lift, as though the shrine had taken something from him, a burden he didn't know he carried. Outside, the moon had moved higher, its light falling directly upon the ruin. And for a moment, the runes on the doorway flared with pale blue fire. The wind rose once more, carrying a sound like distant singing. A woman's voice, faint and full of sorrow. It was not of this world, yet it comforted him, like a mother's hand brushing away the snow from his brow. He stayed there a long while, just breathing, watching the frost gather again on the stones. And when he finally stood, he left the amulet where it lay. Some things he knew were not meant to be taken. He stepped out beneath the moonlight, his shadow stretching across the white field like a memory reborn. Behind him the shrine glowed one last time, then faded into silence, swallowed by the snow. The traveler continued onward, guided not by stars, but by the faint pull of something within. The mountain whispered again, low and distant, "Not yet." He smiled faintly beneath his breath and kept walking. Chapter 5. The Village That Dreams in Snow. The world had softened into white, every hill, every tree, every memory beneath it, wrapped in a silence too deep for words. The traveler descended slowly from the frozen shrine, following the faint path of lanterns half buried in the snow. Each one flickered, as though the cold air itself was trying to breathe through them. And beneath that fragile light, a shape began to form. A village, sleeping under the weight of endless winter. The roofs were heavy with frost, the windows dimly glowing with a gold too warm for such a lonely place. Smoke curled from a few chimneys, rising like prayers toward a gray and silver sky. There was no sound but the soft hush of falling snow and the low creak of wooden beams under the wind's touch. The traveler walked the main road, his boots whispering against the snowdrifts. Shutters trembled as he passed, yet no one came out. Only faint figures moved behind curtains, silhouettes caught between dream and waking. He reached a small square where a well stood, frozen solid, its rope stiff with ice, the bucket locked mid-drop. Around it were carved stones, markers, perhaps, or memorials. Their writing had faded long ago, erased by snow and silence. At the edge of the square, a single lantern still burned bright. Beside it stood a woman, or the shadow of one. Her cloak shimmered like moonlight caught in glass, her face half hidden beneath a hood. When she spoke, her voice was soft, a whisper that barely disturbed the snow. "You shouldn't be here, not when they dream." The traveler hesitated. They? She turned toward the houses, each window glowing faintly now as if the whole village had stirred at the sound of her voice. "They sleep," she said quietly, "but they do not rest." Not since the night the storm came, he followed her gaze and saw it then, through the frost-covered glass. Faces motionless, eyes closed, not in peace, but in something deeper, something colder. "They are caught in the dream," she murmured, "and the dream never ends." The traveler stepped closer, peering into one of the windows. Inside, a family sat around a long, dead fire, unmoving, their breath frozen midair like fragile ghosts of warmth that once was. He felt the ache of old sorrow settle in his chest. "What happened here?" The woman looked down. The wind brought whispers from the mountain, and with it, a song. They heard it in their sleep. It promised warmth, it promised light. And one by one, they followed it, deeper, into their dreams. A hush fell between them. Even the snow seemed to pause its descent. The traveler looked at her again. "Why are you still awake?" Her lips curved, not quite a smile, more a memory of one. "Someone must keep the lanterns burning, in case they ever wake." He nodded slowly, understanding the weight she carried. She turned away, facing the horizon where faint light shimmered over the hills. "There is a river beyond the forest," she said softly. "Follow it until it bends toward the east. You will hear it calling you too, the same way it called them. But do not listen for too long." Her form began to fade, as though her words were the only thing keeping her tethered to the cold air around her. And when the last syllable left her lips, only the lantern remained. The traveler reached for it, hesitated, and left it burning. He looked back once more, the village still, timeless, breathing only through the faint golden glow of its dreams. As he walked away, he thought he heard them whisper, dozens of voices overlapping, soft and endless, not in fear, but in longing. Stay, just a little longer. He did not look back again. The wind rose behind him, carrying the sound away into the pale night. And the village of dreams vanished into the falling snow, as if it had never existed at all. Chapter 6. The Bridge of Echoes. The forest thinned, and the snow gave way to stone. The traveler followed a narrow path cut through cliffs, the air heavy with mist, every breath a slow, deliberate whisper. Somewhere ahead, water moved, not loudly, but in a rhythm that pulsed beneath the silence, a steady murmur, like a voice speaking from under the world itself. He stepped through the fog, and there it was, a bridge, ancient, long, and impossibly still. It stretched across a ravine swallowed by shadow, the kind of depth that seemed endless, a black mirror reflecting nothing. Each stone was carved with patterns worn smooth by centuries, runes too faint to read, yet still humming softly like an old melody half forgotten. The traveler paused at its edge. A wind rose from below, cool and damp, carrying the scent of moss and the faint echo of water far beneath. He placed a hand on the railing. It was cold, smoother than ice. And the moment he touched it, the sound began. Whispers, hundreds of them, layered, distant, calling through time. He froze, listening. The voices did not speak clearly, more like echoes of thoughts, memories left behind by those who once crossed this place. A man's laughter, a woman's song, the clatter of armor, the quiet sob of a child. They came and went like ripples in still water. He took his first step. The stone beneath him groaned softly as though it remembered his weight. With every step, the whispers grew clearer, not louder, but closer, curling around him like wind through leaves. He tried not to listen, but one voice stood apart, low, calm, familiar. You've been here before. He stopped. The air trembled. For a moment he could almost see it. Flashes of a memory not his own. Torches burning, warriors marching, the bridge alive with life and purpose. And then, screams. The sound of steel meeting stone. A flash of light, and silence. The traveler's heartbeat slowed. He exhaled softly, the fog catching his breath and carrying it away. Halfway across, the mist thickened. He could no longer see the far side, only the faint shimmer of moonlight trying to pierce through. The whispers changed now, becoming one long tone, deep and resonant like the low hum of a temple bell. The bridge began to vibrate, gently, like it was breathing. He felt the sound travel through his boots, up his spine, into his chest. It wasn't frightening. It was steady, grounding, like the heartbeat of the earth itself. Then came the silence, complete, heavy, so thick it felt alive. He stopped walking. And from within that silence, a single voice spoke. You carry echoes too. The traveler's eyes closed, and the world fell away. He saw faces, not strangers, but people he had known in dreams. A child laughing beneath the aurora, an old man sitting by a campfire, a woman smiling in the falling snow. They were all gone. Yet here, their echoes remained. He whispered back, barely audible. I remember. The mist stirred. The voice faded, satisfied. The hum beneath his feet calmed, and the silence softened into peace. When the traveler opened his eyes again, the far end of the bridge was clear. A soft light waited there, golden, flickering, like the first dawn breaking after endless night. He walked the last few steps slower, his mind still carrying the rhythm of the whispers. And when he reached the end, he turned once more. The bridge stood quiet. No sound, no voice, no wind, only stillness. He bowed his head slightly, a gesture of respect to those unseen. Then he continued on, the golden light ahead warming his path, faintly melting the frost on his armor. And far behind him, deep in the ravine, the faintest echo replied, not sorrowful, but thankful. Then all was calm again. Chapter 7, The City Beneath the Frozen Lake. The traveler had followed the river east, through forests wrapped in frost, through mists that carried whispers of old songs. And then, the path ended. Before him stretched a lake, vast and still, frozen smooth as glass. The moon hung directly above, turning its surface into a silver mirror that seemed to hold the sky itself. He stepped closer, and for a moment he thought he saw movement beneath the ice. A shadow, then another, not of fish nor current, but of towers, tall, spired and motionless, the skeleton of a city sleeping beneath the frozen water. He knelt by the edge, brushing the frost away. His reflection blurred into the faint outline of stone arches and forgotten streets. And in the silence that followed, he could almost hear them. The faint hum of bells, the low murmur of 1,000 voices, a city still alive, dreaming beneath the surface. The wind drifted low, carrying a strange calm, the kind that comes before revelation or ruin. He lit his lantern. The flame shimmered against the ice, and the light seemed to sink downward through layers of frozen glass, illuminating the city below. Golden windows flickered in the depths like stars trapped under an endless sea. He spoke softly, not expecting an answer. "Who built you?" And the ice responded, with a sound so faint it might have been imagination. A long, resonant hum, deep and mournful, like the sigh of a god buried in crystal. He stood, stepping onto the frozen lake. Each footfall echoed, slow, deliberate. The ice did not crack, it sang, a low tone vibrating beneath him, carrying his heartbeat into the deep. Halfway across, the mist rose again. Shapes began to move under the surface, faint figures gliding between streets of stone, their forms blurred, translucent, ghosts or memories. He stopped. A woman walked below him, her robes flowing like water, her face serene and distant. She looked up, directly at him. For a breath they were connected. Two worlds, one above and one below, both caught in the same silent winter. Her lips moved. No sound reached him, only the movement of her mouth. "Remember us." The light in his lantern flickered, the vision trembled, and then shattered like glass beneath a sudden wave. The city vanished into darkness. He stood alone on the ice. The air was still, but heavy with something ancient, something unsaid. He knelt once more, pressing his palm to the frozen surface. It was warm, not heat, but presence, a slow pulse beneath, as though the heart of that city still beat somewhere far below. He closed his eyes, whispering back, "I will." When he rose again, the fog had parted. On the far side of the lake, the mountains stood tall and unbroken, their peaks glowing faintly with dawn's first breath. The long night was nearly over. He walked on, his reflection fading with each step, until both man and city were swallowed by the white horizon. And in the depths below, the faint hum began once more, soft, steady, eternal, the sound of a city still dreaming beneath the ice. Chapter 8. The Watcher on the Broken Tower. The path had grown narrow now, climbing higher and higher into the mountains, where the air thinned and the clouds felt close enough to touch. Snow drifted sideways across the ridge. The traveler's boots crunched against frostbitten stone, each step echoing into the vastness below. And then, through the mist, he saw it, a tower, or what remained of one, broken halfway up, leaning like a wounded beast, its upper half scattered down the cliffside. Yet somehow, it still stood. He approached slowly. The entrance was half buried in snow, its wooden door long rotted, hanging loose on one hinge. He pushed it open. It groaned, a long, hollow cry that seemed to stretch across time itself. Inside, silence. Only the faint drip of melted ice falling from the ceiling, and the whisper of wind curling through cracks in the stone. He lifted his lantern. Dust hung in the air, glimmering like ash. Old books lay scattered across the floor, pages frozen mid-flutter. And in the center of the room, a single chair faced the window. It was empty, but still, the feeling remained. Someone was here, or had been. He turned, slowly. For a moment, he thought he saw a shadow move along the wall. Not his own. He called out, softly. No reply. The wind shifted again, and with it came a low hum, deep, rhythmic, almost like breathing. Not from above, from below. He descended the spiral staircase, each step creaking under his weight, echoing through the hollow tower. Down and down, until the air grew colder, the light dimmer. At the base of the tower he found it, a great mirror, tall as a man, cracked across its center. Its surface shimmered faintly as if lit from within. He stepped closer and saw a figure inside the reflection, tall, still, watching. It wore no face, only a mask, smooth, featureless, pale as bone. The traveler froze. The figure did not move. He raised the lantern, and the light trembled, not from his hand, but from the mirror itself. The cracks spread wider, whispering softly, like frost crawling over glass. Then, a voice, soft, calm, almost human. "You've come far." He couldn't speak. The figure tilted its head slightly. "You've seen what sleeps below the lake. You've heard the whispers in the pines. Now, you stand before the one who remembers." The traveler took a step back. The mirror pulsed. Once. The flame in his lantern went out. Darkness. And yet, he could still see it. The faint outline of the figure glowing in the void. The watcher. "What are you?" he whispered. A pause. Then, "I am the silence between worlds, the stillness before memory fades." The air around him grew heavy, and the sound of the wind vanished completely. The watcher leaned closer to the glass until its face filled the reflection. "Everything ends, traveler. Even the stories you walk through." The traveler's breath slowed. He felt something pulling at him. Not his body, but his thoughts. As if the mirror were drawing out his memories one by one. The smell of the pines, the warmth of the tavern, the song that had followed him through the valleys, all slipping away. "No," he whispered. "Not yet." He reached forward and struck the mirror. A sound like thunder split the air. Light exploded outward, blinding and cold. When his vision cleared, the mirror was gone. Only shards remained, scattered like stars across the floor. And through the cracks in the wall, dawn had begun to rise. The watcher was gone, but its voice lingered. Chapter 9, The Bridge Between Dreams. The morning came softly, not with the fire of sunrise, but with a quiet silver glow that poured through the mountain fog. The traveler walked in silence. Each step felt lighter now, as though the weight of the night had dissolved into the mist. The path led down from the tower, winding between frost-covered cliffs, toward a narrow valley where the air shimmered faintly, as if the world itself were half awake. There, he saw it. A bridge, old, impossibly old. Its stones glowed faintly beneath a thin layer of frost, and beneath it, not water, but light. A pale, rippling current that flowed like a dream in motion. He stood at the edge, staring. For a long time, he said nothing. This was no ordinary place. He could feel it, the same quiet hum that once echoed in the tower walls. now beneath his feet, pulsing slowly like a heartbeat beneath the world. He took a step forward. The bridge did not crumble. It welcomed him with silence. As he crossed, the sound of the wind faded away. His thoughts began to drift, and soon he was no longer sure if he was walking or floating. Images began to stir in the air around him, not visions, but memories. The tavern at the edge of the world, the faces of travelers long gone, the lake, still and infinite, and somewhere deep in the haze, the shadow of the watcher, watching still. He closed his eyes. The bridge carried him forward, through a curtain of light that felt neither warm nor cold, but gentle, like falling asleep under endless stars. And then he heard it, a voice, soft, familiar. "You've walked far enough." He opened his eyes. Before him stood a woman, dressed in pale robes that shimmered like moonlight on water. Her eyes, calm, endless, reflecting everything he had seen. "Where am I?" he asked quietly. She smiled faintly. "Between what is real and what is remembered." Her words drifted like wind through the trees. He glanced around. The air was fluid, dreamlike. Shapes shifted with every breath. He could see the tower behind him, the valley ahead, the stars above, all merging together. "Why does this place exist?" he whispered. She looked toward the horizon. "To rest before waking." He frowned slightly. "You mean I'm dreaming?" She tilted her head. "Does it matter?" He took another step forward. The bridge beneath him glowed brighter, resonating with each heartbeat. And as it did, the air began to hum softly, the same tune that once played through the tavern window so long ago. The woman raised her hand, and the world seemed to slow. Every traveler must cross this bridge. Some see it as a dream, others as the space between lives. He said nothing, only listened as her voice began to echo, softly, endlessly. "When you wake, remember this silence. It is the only thing that never forgets you." Her form began to fade, slowly dissolving into light like dust carried by wind. The traveler tried to reach for her, but his hand passed through nothing. Only warmth remained. He looked down. The bridge was fading too. The glow beneath his feet grew brighter, turning into a river of stars that flowed endlessly forward. He hesitated, then smiled. Maybe this was enough. Maybe every journey was just a long walk to find peace within one's own dream. The last stones vanished beneath him. He closed his eyes and let himself drift, weightless, silent, timeless. For a moment, there was nothing, only the hum, the slow rhythm of the world breathing, the lullaby of mountains and wind, and the quiet promise that he would find his way. Again. Chapter 10. The Last Light at Sovngarde's Gate. The fog had thinned, and for the first time in what felt like forever, he could see the sky. The stars shimmered like embers, slow and gentle, as if the heavens themselves were exhaling after a long night. He walked along the last stretch of the path, a quiet trail of silver light winding through a valley of whispering snow. Each step echoed softly, fading into the hum of 1,000 unseen voices. The bridge was gone now. Only its memory lingered behind him, a faint glow that pulsed in rhythm with his breath. Ahead, the mountains parted, revealing a vast open plain of white, endless, and still. And at the edge of it, a gate, not made of stone or iron, but light, tall, silent, and impossibly beautiful, like dawn frozen in place. Its surface rippled softly, reflecting every journey he had walked through. The tavern, the lake, the watcher, the city beneath the ice, and all the faces that had once smiled in passing. He stopped. The air was cold yet calm, and for the first time, he didn't feel alone. Something within him stirred, a warmth he hadn't felt since the world had first called him a wanderer. He took a deep breath, and the memories began to flow. The laughter of strangers by the hearth, the sound of a lute drifting through the fog, the scent of pine and rain, the quiet cry of someone he had once promised to return to. He closed his eyes. All of it, every sound, every face, merged into one soft wave of light. And in that silence, he understood. The journey had never been about reaching Sovngarde. It had been about remembering the world that made him want to walk there. He opened his eyes again. The gate pulsed brighter, as if sensing his realization. Each beat of light resonated with his heartbeat, each pulse whispering the same word, rest. He smiled faintly and whispered back, "Not yet." A soft breeze passed through the valley, carrying snowflakes that glowed faintly in the half-light. He looked back once more, toward the empty horizon that had carried him through night after night. It was quiet now, peaceful. He turned back to the gate and stepped closer. His reflection shimmered on its surface. But it wasn't him. It was the boy he once was, standing in the same place, with eyes full of wonder and fear. For a moment, time folded. Two versions of him, one who began and one who arrived, faced each other beneath the sky of endless blue. The boy smiled, the man nodded, and together, they walked forward. The light embraced them both, not harsh, not blinding, but gentle, warm, eternal. It wrapped around them like a memory of home. The world began to fade. The mountains, the snow, the stars, all melting into golden mist. And in that last heartbeat, he heard her voice again, the woman from the bridge, whispering softly. "You found it?" He exhaled, his breath dissolving into the light. The gate opened wider, and beyond it, there was only calm. No pain, no sound, just a long, slow silence that felt like the first breath of peace. The traveler took one last step, and the world went still. For a moment, nothing moved. Then, from somewhere far away, the faint hum returned, soft, slow, endless, the song of the world remembering him. And as the night gave way to dawn, a single light shimmered where he once stood, quietly burning in the snow. The last echo of a dream that had finally found its home. The wind quiets now, the stars drift higher, fading softly into the folds of dawn. You've walked far, traveler, through mountains and memories, through silence and snow. And as the light returns, the echoes fade. But the journey never truly ends. Each dream is only a bridge to the next. Each whisper, a promise that the world beyond sleep still breathes, waiting for you. Take this calm with you. Let it linger in your chest, in the rhythm of your breath. Let the cold mountains and the warm fire stay with you, somewhere quiet in the back of your mind. And when you wish to wander again, when the noise of the day feels too heavy, return here to echoes of ether. There will always be another story waiting, another path beneath the stars, another night to rest your thoughts. If this journey has brought you peace, if even for a moment you felt lighter, stay with us. Your presence keeps this fire alive. Subscribe, not for noise, but for silence, for stillness, for the places between dreams that only the heart remembers. Now, breathe deeply. Listen to the last whisper of wind as it passes the mountains. And let go. The world fades to white. The sound slows to nothing, and your story continues somewhere beyond the snow. Good night, traveler, until the next dream.